Greetings. In today's clip we're going to talk about how to get jacked and how I got 18-inch arms drug-free. So, to begin with, I have been training for 2.5 years, so pretty much I started getting serious into bodybuilding slash powerlifting in 2014. But I basically trained all my life, so I've done sports like football, sprinting, basketball, all sorts of martial arts. And that was pretty good training, but in 2014 I decided, dude, I want to get jacked, and I started getting pretty serious about it. The three key components to getting jacked are high frequency. Frequency. I cannot stress it enough. The guys who do bro splits, they're okay, but they're not the ideal way to train. You're only hitting muscles once a week instead of hitting it at least twice or 3 times a week. So, because natural bodybuilders, our protein synthesis, the process of turning protein into muscle, it only lasts for 24 to 48 hours. So we need to train more often than geared lifters. And I do not mean geared lifters like geared powerlifters who use shirts for bench pressing and suits like for squatting. I am talking about the gear, the real stuff, you know. Because their protein synthesis can last longer, they can train once a week and 7 days they wait, their protein synthesis is still up, and they hit their muscles again. So the biggest problem is guys don't train often enough, and they should be training like 3 times a week is ideal, 3 to 4 times hitting each muscle group, and maybe even every day you can hit your weak points like calves or forearms, which are a lot of weak points for a lot of lifters. Second thing is high volume. Now, the high volume part, you do not need to do like 60 sets workout. I mean, you can, but you're going to be like 3 hours in the gym. That's not ideal. 45 minutes is pretty much the optimal time for that. So, for high volume, I suggest high reps for shoulders and arms. Those are the ideal because they are very small muscles, so you need to work them in a you need to work the slow twitch muscle fibers for those muscles, you know. So high reps, 15 plus reps on all your exercises will be ideal. For triceps, you want to add the heavy loads from your skull crushers, close grip bench pressing, JM pressing, which is an amazing exercise for triceps, which we'll talk about more later. Now, for the longest time, I didn't do the progressive overload because I was limited in weight that I had because I work out at home. Now that I've made some new barbells, the progress has skyrocketed, you know. As far as the progressive overload, which is the third component to getting jacked, is you want to progressively overload in weight, sets and reps on your main exercises, on your bench pressing, squatting, deadlifting, overhead pressing. Overhead pressing is crucial importance, people skip it, do not do it. Rolling movements, weighted dips and weighted chins, those are your main heavy compound lifts which will work all of the parts of your body. I would also add upright rows to those few exercises, though some people say that they're dangerous for your shoulders, which I highly disagree. You just you must work like a retard, you know. When you do the upright row, it's this motion, you know. You don't want to go to all the way up here, you're going to get shoulder impingement and shoulder injuries. It's all okay if you go to the nipple line or upper abs. So, those are the main things to getting jacked. Also, your nutrition needs to be on point. You need to be in a caloric surplus when you are working out or trying to bulk up, you know. Which is the case for most guys. If you're trying to lose weight, it's a completely different topic. We're talking about how to get jacked and massive here. Also, very important to getting jacked is you mustn't neglect the body parts. Delts, traps, upper back, neck and glutes. Those are the essential areas to getting jacked, in my opinion, because when you see a guy with huge traps and shoulders, you know, you don't want to fuck with that guy. Because most of the guys, all they do is fucking biceps and chest, which are the most overrated body parts in my opinion. You still need to work them, but they're being usually overworked by most lifters. So that was the short way to getting jacked, you know. Now, the second part is how to get 18-inch arms. Mine are pretty big, as you can see. I don't know how well you can. So those are 18 inches 45.5 centimeters if we're going to use the metric system as is proper. Now, there's a theory of overtraining. When I say overtraining, I don't mean actually overworking a muscle, but working a muscle every single day so it gets bigger over time. As you can see, there are a lot of examples in real life from my friends and other people that I've seen. For example, footballers. All they do is run and jump. They have a massive calves, as you can see. When they go into lifting, their quads, legs, and the calves, they just explode. Then climbers, they get huge forearms and back. Basketball players, their triceps get pretty good, and their brachialis, as you can see, the current Mr. Olympia, Phil Heath, he was a basketball player before he went into bodybuilding, and his brachioradialis and brachialis are off the charts, best we've ever seen. Then there's also guys who do rowing, rowing. All of them have amazing backs, and also legs, they get worked quite well. I have actually quite a few friends that used to row, but now are into lifting, powerlifting, bodybuilding, whatever, they lift weights. And their backs and their legs are best body parts. You can also say it's genetics for some people, because I have pretty good genetics for bodybuilding, wide clavicles, small waist, small narrow hips, and also small joints. My wrists, I don't know what exact measurement they are, but they're pretty fucking small, so it makes my forearms and arms look even bigger. Also, my dad was a gymnast, so that could help also in muscle building, because gymnasts are pretty jacked guys and can do a lot of weight on the calisthenics exercises. I can right now do 82 dips in a row, which I will record in a few days, so people don't call me out that I'm bullshitting. Now, 18-inch arms. Overtraining also, instead of overtraining, let's call it nucleus overload training, which means you're pumping the muscle every single day with high reps, not for like 10 minutes straight or 5 to 10 minutes. You're just pumping the muscle. Let's say you want to get your arms pretty big like mine. You will do like 60 hammer curls non-stop. Then immediately grab a barbell and do like 60 to 100 overhead extensions with light weight. It's important that you use light weight. We're going for the pump. We're not trying to tear the muscles here. And just get the craziest pump. And I did that before I went to sleep for like a year and a half. So I made my arms, I practically forced them into growth, because my triceps used to be flat as Texas, they didn't have this nice sweep, as you can see. So I worked a lot on the long head of the triceps, which is another point that's very important when you're trying to build huge arms. See this right here? That's the long head of the triceps, which is the biggest part of your triceps, and if you want big arms, you need to work your triceps, and since that's the biggest part, you need to work that. So glad that we got that out of the way. How you work the long head. Now, some people say overhead extensions, which I agree. This is your best friend. Overhead extension with a barbell, dumbbell, any kind of that. Also, body weight extensions. You can do it on the freaking table like this. You understand? You grab the table, put your hand underneath, and just extend. That also works your long head. Anything that extends your shoulder overhead, that will work the long head of the triceps. Also, a great exercise, which I would say for the long head, is the dumbbell kickback. You grab it like this and you extend. I have completely neglected the push downs. I don't even do those. Close grip bench pressing, I do it from time to time, but I feel it a lot in my chest. So the best friend is overhead extensions, but any kind of an extension that puts your elbows over here. That will big arms. Also kickbacks, people dismiss it, oh, it's a Nancy exercise for pussies. No, it's a very good exercise. So you do that nucleus overload training for you don't need to do it for a year or a year and a half like I did. You do it for 3 months. So it will increase the number of nucleus in your muscle, which will in turn give the potential for muscle to grow. It's like a cheat code. You can make your muscles bigger with this nucleus overload training. When you train a muscle every day, you pump it up. And then when you go back to your heavy lifting, they will grow like crazy. So that's what I did, and now I'm following kind of like a geared powerlifting program, which is, there's an exercise called board press, when you put a board on your chest and then you do the bench press, because it eliminates the bottom range of motion, which works your pecs. And it's all this upper, see, all the way from here, it's all triceps. I also do the great exercise called the JM press. It's like close grip bench press and skull crusher with a baby, and it's a great exercise. You can do a lot of weight on it. So you grab a barbell, you put it over here, and all your elbows need to be all the way forward, and you just extend. That will work your triceps to a huge degree. Also, for huge arms, you don't want to neglect, you see this muscle? It's called brachialis. It's like the third part of the arm which all the people neglect. All they do is their biceps. Do not neglect your brachialis, it's very important. You do those with your hammer curls, your reverse curls. Pretty much do them every your session. When you're doing arms, do those, don't skip them. For the biceps, I have pretty good bicep genetics. As you can see, they're quite big and stuff like that, so I never needed to do special things to make them grow. So I don't know, I would say try to go heavy once a week to make them, to show them the growth, to tear them, but mostly do the pump work for them. And for triceps, I need to work a lot on them, so there is a superset for arms, which I would suggest that you do every arm workout, if you do arm days and stuff like that, but if you do full body, also do this. You grab a barbell and do your standard barbell curls. Then immediately, in a drop set fashion, grab a lighter barbell and start curling that. Do 15 reps on the each, you know. And then immediately, no rest in between. You grab a barbell and put it over your head and do like 30 overhead extensions. After that, get on the table or something like that and do body weight extensions, 20 reps. And then when you're done with that, do your 20 kickbacks. I will tell you, have a pump like you never had before. That's do 15 to 20 reps on each of those exercises. And the weight needs to be lighter, you won't be able to go as heavy as you will usually do. So, to conclude, your nutrition needs to be on point. High frequency training, 3 times a week is optimal, you can do even more for your weak body parts. High volume, you need to do high reps for your things, especially for the shoulders and the arms. They say nutrition, I know. Progressive overload on your heavy lifts like bench pressing, overhead pressing, rowing and deadlifting. You need to progress in weight each session. And also the fifth part is rotating exercises. Now, when you do a certain exercise, over time your body will get used to it and you won't be able to get as good gains as you did before. So, each 2 weeks you rotate exercises. Let's say for 1 week for the triceps during your heavy work you do the JM press and close grip bench press. Next week switch to the board press, you know, when you put boards on your chest, and then do that. And skull crushers, and rotate exercises always like that. This will prevent the biological law of accommodation, which means you will keep growing always. As Rich Piano would say, confuse the body and keep it guessing. So now I ranted a bit, I don't know if this was even informative. So yeah, do your things. I hope this helps you and have a great day. I'll see you cool cats soon.